What are some commercial real estate exit strategies? I'm Tim Diesel, commercial real estate consultant. Today I want to go through different exit strategies you can use when getting your property or getting into it or getting out or whatever the case is. See how this can help you. Usually my rule is if I get 2 or 3 people, sometimes 5 or 6, asking me a question, then it's time to make a video for it. But if it's one person, if it's a one-off, I'll just send an email or something like that. So when there's a lot of the same question, then it warrants a video because there's a lot of people that don't know. All right, so the first exit strategy, if you're buying a retail building, whatever it is, even if you're buying a house, your first exit strategy is selling, right? You get in and your plan is to create an exit to sell. Now, before you buy anything, you should have an exit strategy. You should not get into something thinking, oh, we're going to cash flow so good, but I don't know what to do, or we're going to sell this whenever and market turns on you. So you should always have an exit strategy that you want. You should always line up a few of them. Don't get yourself in a corner. So the first one is selling. All right, so you buy a retail building, it's doing well for you, or maybe your plan was to get in there, fix it up, clean it up, however it is, and then turn it around after you get a tenant in there. That's a good exit strategy. It's actually very popular. In larger deals, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense because if you don't keep it for more than a year, now you've got tax implications. It really depends on your tenants. Obviously, if it's an apartment building, your leases are shorter. If it's like a medical office or something like that. So it really kind of depends, but selling is the first one. The other thing you can do is refinance the property, right? You can refi out. So maybe it was to buy a value-added property, get in there, fix it up, clean it up, maybe refi, take all the cash out, go into another deal. Now, this is probably the best time to tell you, I don't like the idea of 80% refi LTV. So 80% loan to value. So that means if your property is $1 million, I don't like the idea of pulling out almost all the equity up to 80% or something. I like to stay more conservative. Anywhere from 50 to 70, that's kind of the max I like to stay. 70 usually is a really good buffer. 80 is really cutting it close. If you have to do that, probably not a terrible idea to look into selling. The third exit strategy is just keep it for cash flow. Keeping the property for cash flow is an exit strategy. Most people don't look at it that way, but it is. Your exit is ultimately to get it stabilized. So you want to get in there and maybe there's problem tenants. Maybe there's property damages like the roof, the windows, whatever the case is. And you want to get in there and you want to clean it up and get the income going for your investors, right? For everybody that helped you pull it together. Now, obviously, if it's a large syndicated deal, they're going to operate a little differently than you would as a one-man buying 8 units. It just kind of depends. But the strategy is the same. If your plan is, hey, I want to keep this thing for 5 or 10 years, that's kind of the exit. The exit doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to wait until that final day to get out. No, you just want to get in there with a plan and kind of what to do. So the problem that I can see could be maybe you want to get in there and you want to buy something for $500,000 and you want to sell it for maybe $650 or $700. And for whatever reason, maybe the market turns on you and now you're in trouble where you're going to have to stick with that strategy of selling. Now you're going to lose. So you don't want to do that. You want to get into a position where, okay, my strategy was to sell. Now I've got to keep it for cash flow. It's still cash flowing pretty well. And I'll just ride this out a little bit. Or maybe to pull the cash out and get into another deal or whatever the case is. I don't like the idea of pulling cash out just to pull it out. I think that's kind of silly. I like to have cash. I like to have a lot of reserves. The opposite of what you've been hearing all across the planet. I like to have cash. I like to have reserves. But at the same time, I don't like to have cash and reserves that I'm paying on and I don't have any intentions of doing anything. So if you have a deal coming up, maybe in 3 months, 6 months, whatever, it's a good idea to sit on cash. I don't like the idea of scrambling for money the last minute. That never works out in your favor because you'll end up paying more for the money and so on and so forth. So definitely keep some cash, but at the same time, when you do pull money out, look to get it into another opportunity or another deal, another whatever it is, partnership, whatever it is you're looking at. So you're going to sell, you're going to refi or you're going to keep it for cash flow. And if you have any more questions on this, please let me know. Be glad to help you. Thank you.